Hello, thank you, welcome, hello, thank you, other pleasantries.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm Arbiter Ian.
I'm Mira Manga.
And
hello.
we are the Warhammer Book Club. We read books about Warhammer, and you can too.
Yes.
Yeah, well, in fact, you do. If you didn't, this would make no sense. So yes, we're professional content creators, and thus I'm now going to say thank you for joining in. This is who we are. We all have Patreons and like and subscribable things and YouTube channels and merch.
Yay! I'm wearing
some of her merch
The
today.
Emperor Inspects.
And you can find it in the thing at the bottom of this. Also, this is available on YouTube, where you can see our faces, or as a podcast where you can't see our faces.
You can hear our voices.
You can hear our faces. Yeah. So that's the messages done. Yeah. The important thing is the book we're doing today, which is
Honor Guard.
Honor Guard.
It's a Gaunt Ghost. It's been so long.
It has, yeah. So we did the original 3 Gaunt Ghost books, and now we're expanding that pattern to do the next lot of Gaunt Ghost books.
Dan did ask me to read the next few together, and then I'm going to talk to Dan about it.
Brilliant.
So Ian's helping fill my brain with it properly.
Yeah, and I've reread the whole of this section up to straight Sabbat Martyr. So so we're good for the next big block.
Yes, and we have got an art book which we might do a special Patreon only or something.
Yeah, which I need to do. I need to get back to you actually. So Honor Guard. It's the 4th Gaunt Ghost novel.
Yay!
It's set on the shrine world of Hagia, which is sort of Space India. Or Space Nepal.
Yes.
And so the idea for the tea today was that we were going to have this Brook Bond Hindustan red label, which is like some sort of granulated tea. That was the idea. So I was going to make that because, India. I got this when one of our animators at work came back from India and brought us all a little this. But you kind of need... I did try and make it in a cup. You kind of can't. You have to make it in as chai tea, and I don't have all the stuff for it. And we only discovered this a minute ago when I tried to make it. There's no instructions. The YouTube videos for it don't make any sense. So if anyone knows how to make this, please let us know. But yeah, so just keep this in your mind as we drink glasses of water.
Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
London tap water.
So tea failure in our attempt to do official Indian tea. But anyway,
we will have a special book club where we drink chai.
We will. We have to find an appropriate video for it.
Yeah, my mum is from India, so I should know how to do it.
I was kind of thinking you might know how to do it.
I know. Yeah. But clearly, my mum looked after me too well as a kid. Yes.
You should ask your mum how to do this. Anyway, so Honor Guard.
In a shrine world, the ghosts are in another Mission Impossible, and Gaunt is hitting the bottle with tanks as far as the eye can see and the Infadi around every corner. Are those guiding voices we're hearing of the Emperor, or something more sinister? Find out more as we read Honor Guard.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we haven't done a Gaunt book for a while.
Yes.
Which is the point we're at here is. The last book was Necropolis, which is in many ways the first big Gaunt book.
Immense. Yeah. Immense.
And at the end of that, Gaunt's got the power sword of Hieronymo Sondar. He's gone up in everyone's estimation. Yep. He's like a big leader. He's won the siege of Vervenhive, and the Tanith have been helped out. They've been new recruits from Vergast.
Yes.
So these books all deal with one of the big themes in them is how the two halves of the Tanith sort of function together.
Yes.
Because half of them are from Vergast now. So we meet lots of new characters and lots of characters who were in Necropolis, but as a minor.
Yes. Which I love. It's kind of like, in MASH, that old 90s, 70s show.
80s, 70s.
And so, people who've been in and around the ghosts are joining them as part of the squad now.
Yeah, but all these books sort of deal with that a bit.
Yeah. Can I just say, the range, the depth and breadth we get. So last one was huge, humongous Hive City siege.
Yep.
This one, we're literally in guerrilla warfare.
Yeah, and we're in a holy trail up a mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really, and this season, these next 4 books will continue that. One's in the air, one's in a trench war zone. It's all crazy.
I think that's awesome that we get to see them in different situations.
So we open on the Doctrinopolis of Hagia. It's hot. There's pink tiles. The king is hanging. The bad guys have hung the king. We learned quite a lot about the developments since Vergast. Excuse me. McCall and we're in a firefight, basically. McCall and Kathran are in cover. They're joking with Gaunt. There's new Vervenhivers who are kind of in awe of them, but they're sort of annoyed at being newcomers. We meet Lillo, a career soldier in Verven, who's annoyed at like being told what to do by Gaunt, by the ghosts. On the other hand, we also meet Vamberfeld, who is used to be a scribe and was very definitely out of his depth.
Yes.
And we learn about the bad guys. When they'd seized Hagia, the Chaos Forces had taken the name Infardi, which meant pilgrims in the local language, and adopted a green silk uniform that mocked the Shrine World's religion. The name was meant to mock it too. By choosing a name in the local tongue, the enemy were defiling the very sanctity of the place. Yes. For 6,000 years, this had been the Shrine World of Saint Sabbat, one of the most beloved of Imperial saints, after whom this entire star cluster and this crusade were named.
Yeah. I mean, coming out of heresy is so mad to see the religious bent of 40k.
So that they're specifically, as the thing about 40k's Imperial religion is it looks different on every planet. As long as they worship the Emperor, it's fine. And this is like wandering priests called Ayatanis who worship the Saint Sabbat and follow her path across the galaxy. And Sabbat is like the one that is.
Are there books about Saint Sabbat?
Not really. No. Apart from the later books in this series.
Interesting.
So we also meet Milo after the firefight. Milo's in town. He meets a girl called Sanyan,
which I'm so happy
and
about.
she's an Esholi, which is like this holy cause where they just learn everything until they find their path in life.
Yeah.
So they're like a permanent university student.
What a life.
Rawn is also having some action in many ways. He's being sexist. So one of the new things of Rawn is that obviously the Tanith ghosts were all men, but now they've been joined by men and women.
Yeah.
And Rawn is like worried about the fact that there are women in the regiment and how that might be a powder keg for all the men, which is the subtext being definitely him.
So we got a great little bit. Major Rawn still hadn't sorted his head out about the women. There were a fair number of them. Vergasites who had elected to join the ghosts during the Act of Consolation. They could fight, Feth. He knew that much. They'd all been baptised in combat during the War for Vervenhive. Common workers and habbers forced into fighting roles. But still, they were women. Rawn had tried to speak to Gaunt about it, but the Colonel-Commissar had droned on about various illustrations, mixed or all-female units in Guard history, blah, blah, blah. And Rawn had pretty much blanked him out. He wasn't interested in history. He was interested in the future and in being there to enjoy it. Women in the regiment put a strain on them all. Cracks were already showing. There had been a few minor brawls on the troop ships. Vergasite men protecting the honour of their women. Men falling out over women. Women fighting off men. It was a powder keg, and soon there'd be more than a few split lips and broken teeth to show for it. Bottom line was, Rawn had never really trusted women much, and he'd certainly never trusted men who put too much trust in women.
Yeah, so Rawn's sexist.
So clever. It's showing that he got in trouble and got busted lips and teeth because he was trying to,
well, he does this with because you get a bit about like Creed and Kathran, which is now a thing, right?
Yes.
So Creed we met in thing, right?
Tona
Creed, yeah. And he does this about Creed. He's like, her name was Tona Creed. She was 18, lean and hard with spiky bleached hair and gang tattoos that spoke of a rough life. Rawn watched her as she walked with Kathran down the shattered Universitariat hallway, covering each other. She moved with easy grace. She knew what she was doing. The black ghost uniform fitted her well. She was, good looking. Rawn turned away and scratched behind his ear. These women were going to be the death of someone. It's him. He's the problem.
Am I the problem? I mean, Dan writes this icky stuff so good.
Bandauer is there as well. Bandauer is a Verven captain we met.
Yeah.
He's doing logistics. He helps an old lady who asks him to protect the saint and gives him a little thingy, a little religious statue. It's horrible. And then they're attacked by Infardi, and Dar leads a side attack, and he gets caught in a building explosion and wounded.
Yes. The Infardi are quite guerrilla warfare-esque.
Yeah,
there's a little bit Viet Cong kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's got that vibe to it. Yeah. Korbeck leads an underground attack in the city, but he's captured and he's tortured by the leader of the Infardi, Pater Sin, with a guy called Yale who gets tortured to death first. They torture Yale's death by inflicting the 9 holy wounds that Saint Sabbat had.
With a rock drill.
Yeah, with a rock drill, yeah. Sin nodded and his grin broadened. An image of the Emperor tortured and agonised was tattooed across his left cheek and forehead, with Sin's bloodshot left eye forming the screaming mouth. Sin's teeth were sharpened steel implants. He smelled of sweat and cinnamon and decay. He hunched down in front of Korbeck. Korbeck could feel Yale quaking with fear. We are alike, you and I. I don't think so, said Corbec. Oh, yes, you're a son of the Emperor sworn to his service. I am Infardi, a pilgrim devoted to the cults of his saints. Saint Sabat, I came here to do homage to her. Which he totally didn't.
So creepy.
So Gaunt's captured. Corbec's captured. Gaunt then has a meeting with Lugo via telephone.
We all the officers are arseholes.
It's really nice in the next book where there's an officer who's not an arsehole.
Yes,
but anyway,
yes.
Gaunt gets Lugo's your current arsehole, right?
Yeah.
And Lugo's a dick. Basically, Gaunt's like, I'm in command of the Herodians and the Pardus armor and the Tanith. We're taking the city. We're taking it carefully because we don't want to. The center of the city is holy to the saint, and we don't want to. We don't want to
lose the artifacts or blow it all up.
blow it all up, or do anything that's like would be bad. And Lugo's like, I'm not paying you for that. Do it quicker.
Ugh.
So Gaunt's and he's like holding back the armor because he wants to clear it with infantry because he doesn't want to destroy the holy city with tanks. So Gaunt basically gets told he has to. Gaunt speeds up and starts going, all right, fine, bombard it. And you get a little bit of background. Lugo was new blood, one of the new minted generals War Master Makaroth had brought with him when he superseded Slado, who gave Gaunt his job.
Gaunt's friend.
And took command of the Sabbath Worlds Crusade almost 6 years before. Some, like the great Urients, have proved themselves just as able as Slado, favourites they replaced, but basically Lugo hasn't. So this bombardment of the city starts, even though Corbac's been trapped.
Can we just also say this interaction with Ludo, among other things, makes Gaunt very, very depressed and moody. He's having a bad one. So he orders this. He's like, fine, tanks in, let's bombard the city into dust to get the Infardi out. Against orders, Kalia is like, well, we can't leave Corbac in there. So he gets Dorden, Haller, Ku, who we've just met, McVenna and others to go rescue Corbac. Yay! Despite the rescue party, Gaunt orders the Pardus armor to go in and assault the old town. Corbec does escape under the barrage. During the action, Dorden's knocked out and sees his dead son saying Sabat Martyr. And he's like, what's that? It's a bit weird. Also, we meet our favourite new character, Trooper Elijah Ku. Now I've read this book, I know why everyone's commenting. Oh, Ian.
Sure.
Yes, Ian, you kept dropping little hints when I was happily naive.
Yeah, Trooper Ku, Elijah Ku, something of a legend already in the regiment. Just under 2 meters, slim, corded with muscle, lean with a face like a bad lie. That's how Corbec had described him. Ku had been a ganger in Vervenhives before the war. Some said he'd killed more men in gang fights than he had in battle. He was tattooed extensively and sold his ability with ink and a needle to appreciative Vergastites. A long scar split his face top to bottom. Trooper Ku called everyone Tanith, like it was a scornful insult.
Proper baddie.
Yeah. The Brevians, Centennials, go in and take the Citadel. Gaunt, again, hears this weird thing, Sabat Martyr, and then the Citadel explodes.
Oh, my goodness.
It was trapped with warp magic.
Yeah.
So there's a horrific warp rift over it, desecrating the whole thing.
Yeah.
So Gaunt gets drunk and studies the Bible as an arsehole to everyone.
I mean, yeah, so you have this massive... The thing is, you think bad things are happening and then something even worse and much more dark happens. Yeah, there's this massive explosion and then... Gaunt really, we haven't seen him like this previously.
He's a proper dick to Milo.
Yeah, he's horrible to Milo, who's our favourite. And Milo kind of says to him, come on, sir, you're being a bit of a drunk dick. Yeah,
and then it turns out there's a Chaos Fleet inbound.
Yeah.
So they're like, well, you've lost the planet.
But I think what's good is... because Gaunt is horrible to Milo, that helps him come out of it later.
Oh, yeah.
So I've been horrible to little Milo.
Oh.
But yeah, chaos is on the way. It does seem like a bit of a lost cause.
Yeah, so Lugo actually turns up now and he's like, well, you suck. Your career is over. You're going to get sacked. I'm blaming you for that explosion. And Gaunt's like, it's fucking Lugo's fault.
Yeah.
But and he installs with him another guy called Commissar Hark. So we meet Commissar Hark and Gaunt is like, fuck off, I don't need a commissar. He's like, obviously you do. You can't do your job.
Yeah.
We need to make sure that discipline is kept. Hark will be accompanying you now. And to redeem yourself, I'm going to give you one last job. We're all going to leave. You are going to be an honor guard. We need to go to the Shrinehold, which is the famous Shrine of Sabat up in the hills, and we need to get the relics out of it. And then you need to bring them back here before the last ship leaves in like way too little time.
Yeah.
So take your Tanith. Here's some Pardus armor to help you. You're going to go and lead this column to get the Shrinehold relics and bring them back.
It's like a Walking Dead Men kind of mission. Pardus armor.
Yeah, Pardus armor. Yeah, but most precious of all are the remains of the saint herself interned at the Shrinehold in the mountains. You will form a detail, travel to the Shrinehold and return here with the saint's bones, conducted with all honor and respect in time for the evacuation transports. So Pardus armor all the ghosts in these trucks, and yeah, in a big convoy.
What is Pardus armor?
Pardus is a regiment of tanks.
Oh.
So it's an armor regiment.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're in troop
Why
trucks.
can't they just say tanks?
Armor support.
Okay.
So yeah, during the journey, while they're doing that, Kalia finds something out.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tona Creed rescued 2 kids.
Yes, who we saw at the very beginning of Necropolis with
Dallin
their mum.
Dallin and Yonsei, and they're Kalia's kids. Tona has adopted them, but only recently.
Yeah,
and
Kalia's
took
not
them with
seen
her.
them.
No, so they're like in the entourage that trail the regiment everywhere. They're back on the ship, and yeah, the children and Creed shows Kalia the 2 kids that she's looking after. She's adopted. The children in the pendant portrait were his children he thought long gone and dead on Vergast. Some god-mocking irony had let them survive and be here with the ghosts. He felt sick and overjoyed at the same time. What could he say? What could he begin to say to Crid or Kathran or to the kids?
I mean, I love this bit, but I also thought, just say those are my kids.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. He's like, well, this has been a year now. Like they've gone through this. Let's not give them any more trauma.
Kalia's a good man, though. He's got a really good heart, hasn't he?
So, yeah, he has. Well, yes. McCall is scouting ahead and he sees these Chelon drovers and misunderstands that they're like, he's like, so, Chelons are like these big shelled cows. They're like big armadillo cows. And they're driving them down the road with their sticks. And he's like, in bad Hagian is like, oh, have you seen any Infardi? And they're like, yeah, there's thousands coming this way. And during a rest, also Larkin and Koo get out of the thing. And Larkin's like, oh, I don't like this Koo guy. And they go to shoot some burbs. They find a little bird for they want some food. And Larkin's like, I'm going to shoot them. And then Koo starts going crazy, picks up the gun, really wants to try Larkin's gun, and then picks up a normal las and sets it on full auto and just slaughters. And Larkin's like, that's not how you kill birds. You want to kill the heads, otherwise you're going to burn the bodies. And he's like, yeah, I don't care. This is just fun. Lights up the thing, kills loads of birds. And there's a worrying thing where Larkin's like, every single shot hit exactly.
He's a wrong one.
Just spotting, Larkin said. He didn't like Koo at all. Koo made him nervous. People called Larkin mad, but he wasn't mad like Koo. Koo was a cold killer, a psycho. He was covered in gang tats and had a long scar that bisected his face.
I hate this. I hate this. Now I know what happens.
Koo's a dick. McCall meets Ayatani Zweil mending a shrine, who's the best character in the book.
Okay.
Yeah. Ayatani Zweil, crazy old man Ayatani Zweil. And he learns the difference. Ayatani Zweil, he's like, fuck, there's thousands of Infardi coming. And they're like, no, they're Urshul. And Urshul means like shit. And that's the word Zweil uses to call the Chaos people. He's like, I'm not going to call them Infardi because they're not real pilgrims.
They are making a mockery of it.
Yeah. So they're not Infardi, they're Urshul. Makes it really confusing. Anyway, he also checks and lets the drovers past. And they're like, that's fine.
Which is crazy, this bit.
And then he phones back and he goes, yeah, you got some drovers coming past. They're fine. It's fine. But actually, when they get the main column, the drovers have been killed and replaced by Chaos in actual Urshul and Fardi. And they attack the column.
Yeah,
and they fall a tree and
no one's fighting fair.
Some people are wounded.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're going to slow us down. So what we should do, since we've just set out, we should for now get an old Chimera or a troop truck, put all the wounded in it. Someone needs to escort them back to the town. They can just evacuate early. Yeah. And Korbak's back in the town because he's been wounded. Dower's been wounded. Dordan's back there.
Yeah.
So they take some people back to the town. And Milo's chosen to go and be the guard. And he's like a bit worried because he's like, well, am I a proper soldier or not? Why am I being sent back?
Yeah.
They don't think I'm a proper soldier. One of the big things is Milo's actually joined on as a soldier now.
Yes.
He's recruited himself into the guard. But he's a bit annoyed. He's like, oh, they don't want me killed because I'm the lucky charm.
Yeah.
Back in camp, Korbak and Dower eat breakfast together and they talk about these visions they're having. They've all been hearing Sabbat Martyr.
Oh, it made me so happy.
And so once Milo gets back there, they're like, right, well, Korbak's got this idea. He's very wounded, but they're going to go and follow the column in a stolen Chimera.
Oh, I love this so much.
It's so silly.
I love it. I really am so excited because they've been all separated and split up and they're all unhappy. So you're thinking, oh, just get back together as a little band. You'll be okay.
Yeah. And so they do this, like, they're the little group in their wounded wagon going off to
And they have to figure out how to fool the army so they can get out of being evacuated and come and help.
Yes, yeah. So they're all trying to get out of being evacuated. They steal this and basically, there's a conversation where Dower's like, like someone's trying to tell you something, Dower whispers softly, something important, something that has to be done. Sacred Feth, growled Corbeck in amazement. That's exactly. How did you know? And they basically rope in a load of people that have been hurt in the previous conflict. They're back at town. And some of them have been hearing Sabbat Martyr, and some of them are just like loyal.
Yeah.
So Dower...
It's like get the band back together, isn't it? It's like...
So they build this little gang. It's Dar, Bragg, Milo, Vamberfeld, Nessa, Derin, Sanyan, the Asholi, because she knows the area, and a guy called Greer, who's a Pardus driver, who Dower has told they're going to rescue some Ayatani gold.
Yeah, there's loads of money coming. He's like, yeah, we rich.
And then Dorden catches up later because he wasn't going to go. He said, this is stupid and you shouldn't go. And then he sees his son saying Sabbat Martyr.
Yes.
So he catches up with him later.
Oh, so good.
And this is really good. Basically, both halves have a big journey and there's lots of fun little interpersonal moments where you learn more about all of them. Like Corbeck has the wounded crew. Vamberfeld is really having a hard time mental health wise. Bragg tries to help him, but he's basically trying to stop his arm shaking and he keeps...
yes, his arm shaking the whole time.
Yeah. McCall in the main column is learning about armour and about tanks because he's ahead with these tanks. And he's like, well, I don't know anything about tanks, but there's this destroyer tank, which is like a tank hunter. And he's like, oh, that's the me of tanks.
Absolutely.
The fun thing about lying to Greer about the gold they're all going to get. Ayatani's vial just generally being like attaching himself to the ghost to be a cantankerous old man.
You need to have an eccentric cantankerous old man, but also it was really cool because we've been in that horrible hive city and now we're in this like jungle terrain. We're going up mountains. It felt very, very complete. Like I could totally imagine this being serialized.
Yes, it'd be a great series of a TV show. En route, the column have to fight a massive battle called the Battle of Bavnaga.
Yes.
And when they do, they actually, it turns into this massive tank battle in this town on the way. And they realise that actually they thought they were close to winning before the Citadel blew up. But they had no chance. The enemy had just gone into the countryside.
Yeah.
And so there are loads of them hanging out in the countryside until their reinforcement fleet arrives. There's tons of tank action. Baffles, who is Milo's old sergeant, is killed trying to be a hero. Kalia actually is a hero, runs forward and blows things up. A Baneblade turns up, an enemy Baneblade, which is a very big tank, is eventually killed. And Hark, which everyone is like, fucking Hark, we hate him.
Yeah, but he turns out to be like a goodie.
Yeah, he's very good in the combat.
Hands-on,
he's hands-on, he's fighting,
which we never see. Normally we see cowardly ones. But I never knew anything about tanks, and I did at the end of this.
Yay!
I quite liked it. It was quite fun to drive a tank.
And the whole interpersonal thing of like how they're doing it and the driver sitting below them and all this sort of thing. And
their tanks are like they're very attached to their vehicles and stuff.
After the battle, Kalia tells Anna Kurth, the surgeon, again about his kids, right? You've got to talk to her, tell her, and say what? They've been through so much. Wouldn't this just ruin what chances for a stable life they have? Shaking her head, she held out her glass for a top-up. You have to, because they're yours. You poured the bottle. They're content and they're safe. The fact that they're even alive is such a big deal for me. It's like a touchstone. So he's like, I'm not going to mess them up.
No, so lovely.
The wounded wagon see that fight for Bagnaga from very far away.
Yeah.
And Sanyan's having all this problem. She's like, she's in a Asholi. She's meant to be finding her way.
She's just a student.
Yeah. And she feels like she's wasted her life when she realises all this destruction. Like, what am I? A learner, a student? All my life I've studied books and gospels and now my world ends in ruin and war. The saint doesn't watch over us. I see men like Corbeck, Dower, even a young man like Bryn. They scold themselves because of all they've learned is the art of war. But war's what matters. Here on Hagia now, but for the art of war making, there's nothing. Well, there's more to life than there's not, Doctor. The Imperium is great, its wonders are manifold, but what of it will remain but for war? People, learning, its culture, its language, nothing. War encompasses all. In this time, there is only war. 40k theme music starts. So she's like, I wasted all my life learning all this stuff. I should have just been learning to do wars.
She's been totally propaganded.
Yep. Vanberveld's still having a very bad time. And now he starts getting visions of the saint.
Yeah.
Is that good? He sees a young girl, a shepherd, herding Chelons,
Yes.
which is how the saint is meant to have started out.
Yeah,
Up in the hills, he keeps seeing this girl herding these Chelon beasts.
I mean, this book, when they get to the bit where they're trekking up the mountain, it does start getting insanely spiritual.
Yeah.
There's loads of like, what's going on? Like, what do these visions mean? Which I love. I was like, oh, yay, because it feels a bit like magic.
It's all magic.
Yeah.
It's a lot of magic in this series. Right, they take a thing called a sukkah, which is a pilgrim track to try and keep off-road. And they eventually, at the end of it, they get to a thing called the Ladder of Heaven, which is like a 6-day climb up these ancient steps to get up to the Shrinehold.
Gaunts never have it
as
easy.
a shortcut.
No. Poor ghosts. They always have to struggle up, you know.
Yeah, struggling through the backwoods. They're all wounded.
Yeah.
They're all trying to climb up this bloody staircase. In the meantime, the column have been stopped by like fallen trees and Infardi attacks. They're really late. They finally get to the column. And they also realise that it's very unlikely they'll ever get back to the evacuation. They finally get to the column, to the shrine at first light. And the Ayatanis meet them from the shrine. And they're like, you can't take the relics.
Yeah.
It's important that they're here. That's why they're holy.
Yeah.
You can't take them. And Gaunt has this whole choice. And he's like, right, well, I don't think we'll make the evacuation. And we can't desecrate the saints' relics any further. So I'm going to say we're staying here to protect them. We will all die.
Yeah.
And Hark, Gaunt's still a drunkard.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been drunken all the way through. He's drinking heavily.
Yeah, he's an unhappy boy.
Yeah. Hark tries to assume command, but all the ghosts point their guns at him and are like, and so he's like, fine then, I'll fight alongside you. The Infardi then besiege them, and there's 5 days of waiting for the Infardi to build up, and then this huge attack as they try with their limited reserves to defend the Shrinehold.
I mean, this is so tense. This part of the book was really like, and you're like, please, we just need reinforcements. We need some divine intervention, something.
Well, handy you mentioned that, because the wounded get to the top of the stairs just as this battle starts and they sneak in.
Yeah.
And Sanyan's all like, war. War's great. I love war. And in a lull, they get questioned by Gaunt. Sabat, Martyr, Dorden, Corbeck and Dower replied in unison. Gaunt sat down sharply. Oh, sacred Feth, he murmured. Sir, queried Warren, getting up. What does that mean? That means she's probably been speaking to me too. Because Gaunt's been hearing it.
They're all hearing it.
So they go to the actual shrine, but at that time, Greer goes mad and shoots Bragg and Vanberfield because he wants the gold.
He's like, it's been quite a good build the whole way through every event. Greer is like, oh, this was rubbish, but I couldn't wait to get to my gold. And you're just seeing this greed descend upon him. Yeah,
and basically finds out there's no gold, shoots Bragg and shoots Vanberfield, but then Dower shoots Greer.
Oh, gosh. That's why you shouldn't just give anyone a gun.
It's a great line here. Just so I'm absolutely sure, Zwail rescues the jar. There isn't a trove of Ayatani gold in there, is there? Dawes shook his head. Just, checking.
I love it.
Right, so there's a big final battle then. The shrine, it gets a bit confusing. The shrine has some sort of activation things, which is turned out is the little thing Dower got given. Activates the shrine, which then... and everyone has to trying to like get it into the shrine control thing.
They're all trying to run towards it
in the battle.
But
even Sanyan does, and you think it's going to be Sanyan, and then
everyone
it's
gets
Vanberfeld.
shot. Yeah.
Then Vanberfeld gets up, picks it up, puts it in, and then gets shot to death. He gets shot nine times, which is the number of wounds the Chelon girl had.
And then he has a vision.
Of the Chelon girl. And what happens is it turns on a massive psychic beacon, which kills the Infardi and makes them flee.
Fifth Element.
Yeah. Yeah, basically that's what happens. And it was apparently built in the ancient days, was built into the hill to protect the Shrinehold.
Which I think is lovely. So basically that does prove the Emperor is magic.
Yes.
There's this shrine
it's a machine though. It's a psychic machine. But there's lots of magic going on. There's a lot of warp magic going on
and
to do with Saint Sabat.
This is the thing though. I hate that the Saint Sabat has to have warp magic because the warp is not good.
But all magic is warp magic.
Oh, gosh.
There's no other magic than warp magic. The Emperor's a psyker.
Yep, okay. Yep. 40k, which is a different game, innit?
Yeah, so Gaunt's ghosts do Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's what this is.
I was so happy for them to be out of these grotty... I mean, I know it wasn't the best in a jungle filled with enemies, but... And also getting to see them all have their little bonding moments in their little groups.
That's the bit I really liked about this. Like, there's only really a couple of battles, and they're all background to all the little, like, story of how the unit are bonding and their personal relationships are developing.
Yeah, it's really lovely, but... There were some unexpected nasty things that happened in this book.
And not just Gaunt, drunk Gaunt.
No.
Drunk Gaunt's on the bastard scale.
I mean, we didn't talk about one of the biggest things that happened.
What's that?
When... Is this the one where it happens?
No, it's next book.
Oh, thank goodness. Okay. Yeah. But I hate that we have horrible characters that stay in and we have to like them. And I hate that Gaunt has to, every time we get rid of a really horrible, just completely incompetent officer, another one replaces it. And Gaunt can never do enough to just be like...
The next one's good. The
next one is good, yeah.
The next one's good.
But I was surprised that that Dan allowed Gaunt to have this kind of fall from grace.
Yeah.
Because he's kind of been such a he's been the one that's kind of strategized everything. So it's good to see the unit go, should we just fuck this off and try and save our friends? And they're all like limping, wounded. Yeah,
it's a bait and switch as well, because at the start, Gaunt's finally in command of a whole world.
Yes.
Right? After Vervenhive, they've put Gaunt in command of getting this.
And that's what I wanted to read, but no.
And Lugo, the very first scene, Lugo's like, yeah, do it faster. And he does, and it all goes wrong.
Oh my gosh. And then not only that, but Ludo getting it wrong blames it back on Gaunt.
Yeah,
that would drive me to drink, I tell thee.
Yeah. So also I've put here in my Dude My Like This, sure as sure, Tanith.
That's awful.
Sure as sure.
Because basically what's happened is I've read the next book. So well done everybody on the internet going, oh no, Ian's tipping things off. Yes,
We've all read these books.
I am
We know what happens. It's amazing how many people... there were people in these 4 books I forgot Ku had killed before he gets killed. It's not just brag.
I think it's awful that... And probably even Dan was like, read the next batch of books before we talk. But, I mean, I guess, it's like we're reading about like an army unit, and that you are going to get that like horrible people you have to serve with.
Yeah, they're people.
But if Ku doesn't get a massive comeuppance, I will just burn all my Gaunt's Ghost books. I don't want him to continue undercover for like 8 books.
How far have you read?
I think I'm on silver.
Straight silver. Okay, interesting. Yeah, good. Emperor Magic's real. Good character development. Gaunt's drunk. Ku exists.
Milo's standing up to Gaunt and telling him, come on.
Yeah. Poor Milo. So Jim says, how did you both like the change to seeing some tank combat in Honor Guard? And what do you think of Sanyan and her relationship with Milo?
I remember reading this and thinking, I know, like in The Matrix, who goes, I know Kung Fu. I'm like, I know tanks. But I really enjoyed that. I love the relationship that they have with the tank. And they're like, this... he knew that his vehicle could do this, but that vehicle was a world blaster. I thought that was quite fun. I never thought... Whenever I see them at Tank Museum, they look very uncomfortable, but potentially could be fun blowing up a hillside.
There's a lot of like fast-paced like cavalry tank action in this as well.
I mean, in real life, do they really go that fast?
Nowadays?
Yeah.
Yeah, nowadays they're pretty fast.
Let's hope we never find ourselves in
a tank.
Yeah, unless we're invited.
Unless we're driving around that tank museum in a tank. Yeah, that'd be fun. Sanyan and Milo.
I love this so much.
They need to get a room.
Yay.
Sanyan's too grumpy too. She's like, Milo's like, I quite fancy this Sanyan person. And Sanyan's like, my mission is to find out the way, and the way is war, and only I will do the warring. And
I thought it was a really interesting juxtaposition where Milo's been thrown in, has found his home and family, within this, and is trying to be a guard.
A real guardsman.
And then meets somebody who seems really soft and tender and gentle, and then goes, whoa.
Yeah.
So, I love that dynamic, though.
It's a good thing to introduce. Jim also says the main arc enemy leaders are not seen much in these Ghost books, only appearing at the end for a final showdown. Are they the real antagonists, or are they just part of the setting, an optical? Partisan is actually early on in this, but doesn't appear again and escapes.
Yeah.
And I think that's the point, though. The part of it is this book is mostly about them.
Yeah.
There is a faceless enemy.
Yeah.
And they're mostly there to show us how different all the Chaos armies can be.
Yeah. But also, I think you spoke to me about this a really long time ago, where you were like, a big part of the obstacles is your own side. You've got incompetent people from the top down. And, for example, in Necropolis, it was all the corruption of the officers that were the big bad. So I feel like, maybe that's the point.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need... And they're not... There are some books really late on that start characterising them well, but mostly it's a horde of random enemies to be dealt with.
Because what was that book we just read about on the Palatine fighters and the Apostles and...
Oh, yeah, Double Eagle.
Yeah, because even in Double Eagle, like, they're chaos...
Kel Crasso Barcon.
But, their
best name.
I mean, he drops in and does like cameos, but it's still more about like the actual unit and everything.
Sam says, can we have an adorable scale for my eye?
Yay! Okay, so we're also going to put...
What's Milo on the adorable scale?
20.
20,
But we're also going to have Princess from Brutal Cunning.
Okay, Princess the Squig is also on the adorable scale.
Yeah.
And what's Princess the Squig?
She is 8.
8. Okay,
because
fine.
She's still a squig.
Okay, fine. Right, on my bastard scale, I've got a lot of things. So I started off obviously putting
that adorable scale, I got like 12 seconds, but we'll build on the adorable scale.
On the bastard scale, the first thing I put was coup, but then I realised he doesn't do anything bastardy in this. We're just told he's a bastard.
No, but he's genuinely menacing, isn't he?
He is genuinely menacing, but he doesn't do anything.
Do you not think this the killing all the birds?
Well, okay, all right,
intimidating them.
Milo was killing. Larkin was killing birds.
Four on the bastard scale.
Correct. Who's already with 4 on the bastard scale? Okay,
but with foresight, he's at 100 on the bastard scale.
Lugo.
I mean, he is horrible. I'd say 7 or 8.
Okay.
This is a different scale than Heresy.
Okay. All right. Hawk.
I think Hawk he has a redemption arc, so he's not on the bastard
Well, at the end, he's like, actually, I'm a big admirer of yours, Gaunt. And Gaunt's the one all the way through being drunk. It's like, you arsehole, trying to supplant me. And Gaunt's like, no, I'm here because I think your career is really interesting.
Yes. But anyway. I'm hoping, Hawk and Gaunt could go on and be buddies, so not on the bastard scale.
Drunk Gaunt.
Oh my God. I mean, it was so amusing.
Drunk Gaunt.
It was kind of heartbreaking.
What's Drunk Gaunt on the bastard scale?
I think 2.
2. All right. Drunk Gaunt is 2 on the bastard scale.
But it's quite funny as well. I enjoy Drunk Gaunt.
We only get him for this book though, so Gaunt stops drinking at the end of this. Yeah. So there we are. That's the 4th of the Gaunt's Ghost books, Honor Guard. Yeah. And we move on from this to as always, a completely different book.
Guns of Tanith.
Guns of Tanith.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is interestingly, we've done Double Eagle, and Guns and Tanith is the book that sets up Double Eagle. Yeah,
it's absolutely horrible opening parachute scene. Will stick with me forever.
Yeah, good. Well, until then, we have all the things because we are professional social media humans. You can find them all in the thing below. Go and buy our merch and listen to our stuff. Particularly go and listen to extra adverts. We all love those.
Yay.
Otherwise, we'll be back with another Gaunt's Ghost in the next one. Thanks for listening and or watching. Yes. It's goodbye from me.
It's goodbye from me.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Bye.